Hello and welcome to Python tutorial about list. Today in this tutorial I'm going to talk about list, which is actually we can say a Python array is called a list. Now there are four different collection data types in Python and one of them is list. So I'll just talk about list today. And list is a collection which is ordered and changeable. Like we can make changes in it. It allows duplicate members, so we can have same members two times, and it can contain data of different data types. So when we're going to define a list, we can have a data type of integer, and the other item may be a string, and the third item may be a float. So it's possible to have different data types in one list. I'm defining a list with the name list1. You can use any other variable name, whatever name you want to use. Keep it short, keep it descriptive. A list is defined in the form of square bracket. Okay, so I'm writing a square bracket. I'm defining a list of, let's say, as I've said, it can contain different data types. So I'm saying apple and I'm giving it a number 1. And then I'm saying list. Let's start from the simplest part. Let's make a list of same item, similar item. So I'm same data type item. So I'm writing apple, I'm writing orange. Okay, so I've this list is having presently two items. Okay, and it's just like we when we talk about string arrays, we said that every item has some index number. Same thing happens with list. So for example, if I want to print list 1, I can just write on list 1 and the whole list will be printed. I'm going to run so that you can see, and you can see it's written apple and orange here. Okay, now instead of apple and orange, if I want to run on the first item, I can write down the index. I can use square bracket and I can write down the index number, and it will print only the first number. It's the same rule. So the first number has an index value 0. So the apple is stored actually in list 1 0. Orange is stored in list 1 and then 1. Okay, so let's run it and see how does it work. So it will get the value from list 0, apple, and then orange. um, in Python it's very easy. As I've said, that it's changeable. We can add more items using append function, and that was one of our focus today. We have already defined our list. We have seen how to access an item using index number, and index numbers are starting from 0. So it means if a list is having two items, then the biggest index number will be 2 minus 1, 1. And now we're going to see how we can add more items in a list. So I'm going to add more items using append function. So I can say easily list1 is equal to list1 dot append. I said append method. If I've said by mistake function, it's wrong. Append method, and I'm saying I want to have berries here, so I'm gonna say berries. Okay, and list 1, if I want to add more, so I can say I want to have some plum. Let's see, red plum. Okay, now let's see how does it look like if I run the program. Oh, it's just showing apple and orange. If I'll change it to print list 1, and it is gonna print the whole list. So you can see first it's printing apple and then orange, and then it's gonna print all the 4 items that has been listed there. We can also choose a range of the items. For example, if we do not want to print the whole list 1, but we want to print only the third and fourth. So apple is at 0, orange is at 1, berries index is 2, and red plum is 3. So if I want to print, for example, let's say I want to print 3 or 1, 2, 3. So what is going to print? It's going to print the number item, the index number 1, then 2, and it won't print 3. 3 is the outer limit and excluded. Okay, so it will only print the fruit stored at, or the item stored at the list 1 and 2. So what is stored at 1? Orange is stored at 1, and after that we stored berries. So it will gonna show like that. You might have, this is how we show a range. I'm just gonna write on here to print a range of items. We can also print from the end. And how we can do that? We can use a negative index. So we can write on list 1, and we can actually use -1. So -1 is actually the last item. After that, we can just write down hashtag to print the last item. So what is the last item? Red plum. When we'll print, it will print red plum. List 1 -1. Okay. And if you want to print from -1, if you want to print a negative range, it's better to like think, okay, this is red plum is -1, berries will be -2, and oranges will be -3. So I'm going to start with -3 and colon, and let's see how will it work. So -3 is orange, and then comes -2 is berries, and it will exclude -1. What would happen if I'll put 0 here? -3 to 0, and if I'll run it, so it's gonna print only orange and berries, and because I said 0, it's not making any sense. It's just showing us an empty one. That's all. Uh, we have done how to do negative indexing and how to use to print a range of items and how to append. Yes, we can also override a value. For example, list 1 at the point 0 was having apples. So if instead of apples, I want to write down blueberries. So, okay, if I write down blueberries, so it will override apple. And next, I'm saying this is to override or rewrite the item at a specific location. So it is going to rewrite the value at list 1 0 and change it to the new value at a specific index, okay. So now if I'll print list 1, you can see it is just going to print, instead of apple it will put the new item blueberries, and then orange and berries and red plum. You can check the last line. Okay, so this is how we override the value. What else? The last thing that I'm gonna tell you is a for loop. A for loop is a special loop that can keep that can repeat a set of instructions several times. Okay, so I'm writing for x in list 1, print x. Well, if I'm just running it, if it's going to show any error, I'll fix it. So for all the x is any value in list 1. It's going to print all the values one by one. So you can see here, first it printed blueberries, then orange, then berries, and then red plum. Okay, so all the 4 values are printed one after another using for loop. So here we are using a for loop to print the values one by one. The alternative method could be that you define x, but there is no need for that because this is a short way to print. X means any number, so it will start from 0, 0, list 1 0, list 1 1, so it's actually printing all the values there. this is all about list is very useful, and try this and enjoy this.